Hello, everybody. Um, the first series of the Grand Tour has just finished on Friday. I followed the series all the way through religiously, so I thought I would give an overall review for the full series one. I will start by saying I was a if you saw on my channel, I reviewed the very first episode of the Grand Tour, and I said on there and explained on there I was a huge Top Gear fan. I've got a huge collection of Top Gear DVDs, and I was devastated when initially Top Gear ended in its original format with Clarkson, Hammond, and May. But I was delighted to find out that they were coming back with this new show, the Grand Tour. So, straight off the bat, I have to say that Series 1 I thought was a tremendously strong series. It is very clear that the chemistry that these guys had on Top Gear wasn't forced. It is genuine. It's clear they are mates, and it absolutely shines through in the series of the Grand Tour. In fact, even more so to a certain degree, because it's almost like the shackles are off. They're not with the BBC anymore. They've been given freedom to a certain degree to make the content they want to make, and they look like they're having even more fun, which is even better for the viewer. So, for those that you don't know, the format for the Grand Tour, how it's changed really is they basically each country present the show. Each week they present the show from a different country around the world, and from memory, I think they visited things like the UK. They were at the UK twice. They were in Scotland twice. They went to Dubai for the final episode. They've been to the USA, Germany, Finland, the Netherlands as well, I think, and I can't really think of any more. And it's like they do the show from it's like this huge tent, and the backdrop is behind them there. A lot of the show they do follow a very similar format to Top Gear. They just kind of name it, name the segments differently. For example, Conversation Street is obviously their spin on the news as it used to be on Top Gear, but each week the slogan for Conversation Street, there's something even dafter happens on it. So that's quite fun. They have their own track. It's very similar to the old track, but obviously it's not the same one. They don't have the Stig anymore, but what they do have is like a NASCAR driver from America, who they call the American, who was mildly amusing initially, but he ain't no Stig basically. So I'm not sure that's a huge success, but he's not a disaster. So for me, where the strengths are in this in this series, where it really succeeds, and I think it succeeds in 90% of everything it's tried. There were some really strong episodes. I think every single one of them had good parts. I think probably the weakest episode was the second episode, and that's probably because that was where the least cars were. I suspect they were kind of doing like this army training thing, and it didn't work. It was forced. You know what I mean? It was obviously most of it set up, um, and I think that's where this show fails, is when they do the forced stuff that's obviously set up doesn't work. I prefer it when genuine mistakes happen. The celebrity brain crash that you see on screen, that was, if you like, to replace the stars in the reasonably priced cars, because they couldn't bring that back. But all they do basically is pretend to kill a famous celebrity. And while that again was mildly amusing for the first couple of episodes, it got tiresome by the end. So I think they need to rethink that. The celebrity brain crash segments, but everything that you remember really that they used to do that was brilliant in Top Gear was here. They had like an environmentally friendly car segment, which was hilarious. That's probably my favourite thing that they did. special that they did, almost like they showed the Christmas specials. Well, this one you can see with a picture there. It was they took some beach buggies to Namibia, and did like the 1,000 mile thing again. It was a good one. It was a strong one. Probably certainly stronger than the Argentina one that they did, but not just up to the heights of like the Burma thing and the South Africa one. The picture you can see on screen now, these are like the environmentally friendly cars. James May built a car made of bricks and mud, and it just kept falling apart, and it was hilarious. Clarkson, believe it or not, made his car, that you can see there, out of animal skin and bones, and I mean honestly it was really funny, especially when they started going off the bones. He's driving around with like toilet paper shoved up his nose because of the smell. Very, very funny. And Hammond had a car made out of branches and twigs and things like that. I think that was my favourite segment of the whole series. They had a cheap car challenge where they each had a cheap Maserati that they took to the north of France, and it was raining constantly. But it was very funny because James had a broken arm. They just taking the mickey out of him. The Christmas episode I thought was really fun. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the segment where they tried to save the coral reef in the Bahamas, and they took some cars to make it to coral reef. And even though there were some sections in that were obviously forced, it was a fun segment, and I did enjoy that. The luxury 4x4s where they went around Europe going to the rude town names was very funny. I enjoyed that. And obviously all the supercars that you see him driving throughout the series. It's just like fantasy stuff really, but you really love seeing them drive around cars that you're never going to get a chance to drive, but it's great to see it anyway. So overall, I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think 'cause what I loved as well is like when they used to be on Top Gear, it was 6 episodes, and that was it. That was your lot. You had to wait for another 6-8 months or whatever it was. Whereas on this, we got 13 episodes, 12 if you consider that the Beach Buggy one was one episode split into two, if you like. So you got like 13 episodes of this, and it didn't drag. You just really look forward to each episode. So I cannot wait for next year for series 2, and I'm so happy that this has worked for them.